Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're zooming right past the Red Fort and the plains of Haldigati, and we are stepping directly into the literal ashes of the burning Seringapatam fort. The year is 1799. We're about to witness the final, dramatic moments of the Tiger of Mysore. This was a ruler whose military might was so intense, his sword literally made the throne in London tremble. History here? Well, it's written in innocent blood.
So let's dive right into the events of May 4th, 1799. You really have to ask yourself, was this just a simple military defeat? Or was it actually a display of ultimate pride, a calculated final stand? To really get this, we've got to look at his massive geopolitical dream. He wanted to transform Mysore into a modern superpower. It was kind of like Shah Jahan's grand vision of building an absolute paradise on Earth.
Section 1. Mysorean Rockets. Science's Shield.
Okay, the technological contrast here is absolutely mind-blowing. Picture this. The British forces, they're relying heavily on your standard traditional cannons, right? But Mysore, they deployed the world's very first iron-cased rockets. In an era completely dominated by basic artillery, these advanced rockets pierced the sky and dropped devastating fire straight down into enemy camps. It was a terrifying new tactical nightmare for the British soldiers. Literally science acting as a shield.
Section 2. The Dark Truth of Mir Sadiq.
You see, imperialism usually relies a lot more on deceit than it does on gratitude or straightforward battlefield victories. The British quickly realized they just couldn't win against Mysore's advanced weaponry in a frontal assault. So what did they do? They turned to diplomacy and division. They brilliantly and ruthlessly executed a divide-and-rule strategy. They actually managed to turn the Sultan's own trusted minister, Mir Sadiq, bringing him into this dark conspiracy. So the fall of Mysore was really driven just as much by this ultimate internal betrayal as it was by external military might.
Section 3. May 4th. The Evening of Martyrdom.
The sequence of events on that day was incredibly fast, and honestly, super tragic. As the sun slowly set in the west, the shadow of death was looming heavy. First, those massive, fortified doors of the fort were deliberately opened from the inside by the conspirators. The ultimate betrayal. By exactly 5:15 p.m., enemy forces had breached the inner sanctum. They reached the Sultan's very bedroom, but facing capture, he absolutely refused to surrender. Instead of fleeing, he chose to lift his sword and fight.
And those final moments perfectly align with his absolute most famous declaration. It is better to live one day as a tiger than 100 years as a sheep. The British really wanted to capture him alive, but there was no way that was happening. He fought and he died, just like an unknown soldier right alongside his extraordinarily loyal guard. It's a legendary stand that historians constantly compare to Jalaman Singh, sacrificing himself to protect Maharana Pratap.
Section 4. Immortal Chapter and Legacy. When the firing finally stopped and the smoke cleared, the British found the Sultan's lifeless body. And here is a detail that just gives you chills. His grip on his sword was so tight, the soldiers literally struggled to pry it loose from his hands. And if you visit today, you can still see the physical scars of that battle. The bullet holes scattered all across the walls of Seringapatam, they practically scream the story of that brutal day. They serve as this permanent, incredibly visceral reminder of the intense, bloody game that brought down an entire empire.
Now, what's fascinating is how beautifully this story ties all of Indian history together. Look at the parallels here. We've got technological innovation that was way ahead of its time, totally echoing the ancient Harappans. We see this heartbreaking internal betrayal mirroring Shakti Singh's initial stance against Maharana Pratap. We've got a divide-and-rule deceit that chillingly foreshadows the 1919 Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and of course a tragic ruler's end that really resembles the fate of Bahadur Shah Zafar. It's all connected.
So, what does this all mean for us today? Why does it matter? Well, the ultimate takeaway from this explainer is absolutely crucial. It's the profound importance of internal unity. Mysore is the perfect historical case study, because unless we are totally united from within, external forces will continuously find ways to bleed us. When a state is divided on the inside, it becomes infinitely more vulnerable to outside pressure.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question to chew on. Did the Sultan's final martyrdom actually get the historical respect it deserved? Take a moment. Really reflect on this immortal chapter of history. There are just so many profound, unsung moments exactly like this one, just waiting to be uncovered. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. And hey, keep seeking out the facts behind the history.